Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be restarting a series that I did once with I believe it was Underworld by Mirelore and Rotoscope by Spiritbox. This series that we're going to be throwing in with the discussion pieces, the album reviews, the 6-song roundups is going to be called the 2 EP review. Because an EP, for those that don't know, can be anything under, anything under 10 songs. Apologies, I dropped the mic. It can be anything under 10 songs or a collection of songs with a runtime less than 37 minutes, I believe is the qualifications. So this is what I'm going to be doing, because every now and then, a band will drop something with 4 new songs, 7 new songs. So it's not worth doing its own full video on, so why not pick 2 out and go through them together? So last time, like I said, we did Rotoscope and Underworld, which were both brand new releases at the time of recording. So today I've picked 2 at random, and the 2 that we are going to be looking at is Eclipse Part 1 by the band Disembodied Tyrant, and the second EP is Aristocracy by Autumn Lies Buried. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump straight into the review. Right, Disembodied Tyrant, Eclipse Part 1. Track 1, Limbo RE, which runs for 3 minutes and 41 seconds. So, the EP opener is a grimy track. The drums rip and the guitar is groovy, yet still heavy, and it pairs very well with the deep, sludgy vocals that the vocalist does pretty well. The breakdown at one point in the song is beastly. Lyrically, from what I saw online whilst I was looking up the song, it is a very short song for something that's near 4 minutes. It was about 2 full verses and some change, if that, but otherwise a good track. Moving on to track number 2, we have Lust featuring the band The Eating Cave, which I have never heard of. And this is about 3 minutes 46, so just under 4 minutes again. This has a full-on fast and frantic opening with blast beats galore. The vocals are a little slam inspired, I think, which isn't a bad thing at all, because I enjoy some slam here and there. But there's also this little deathcore tinge to the vocals and some of the delivery on this song, so it's almost like a slam deathcore hybrid. Like I said, I don't know who The Eating Cave is, so I couldn't really discern when that vocalist kicked in compared to Disembodied Tyrant's vocalist, as far as I was aware. Obviously, I will go and do some research into the band at some point and see what they're like, see if it's the sort of thing I could get into. But moving forward, we have the third track, which is Gluttony, featuring Coda of the band 706, which another band I've not actually heard of, and this one here is 5 minutes exactly. So this song again has a bit of a different feel to it compared to the other 2. It's a little less slammy and a bit more groovy deathcore. And so far, this is probably my favourite song of the 6 songs on this EP. It's got a great drum and guitar track to it. The vocals are really good and really well done on it, with a combo of different techniques on display, which makes it feel fresh throughout. As I said earlier, I'm not exactly sure who the feature is, sadly, but I feel more inclined to look up the band 706 from this song, because you could discern where the vocalist switched up, and the style definitely sounded a little bit more up my alley compared to the Eating Cave on the other track. Moving on, we have track number 4, Wrath, which is about 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And with this one, the vocals feel a little further out of focus, with the drum work and the guitars really commanding the track and taking a focus, more so in my opinion. But still a decent track. Unfortunately, I just don't have a lot to say about this one. Moving on to track number 5, Eclipse, featuring Derek Connolly, which is 7 minutes and 26 whopping seconds. So this is the longest track now, and another feature I don't recognise, but for the most part, the vocals are very samey for the first 2 minutes, going on a raw style, but deeper and more elongated. For example, then they go for this like goblin-esque contorted twisty mids. I think the feature was near 3.5 minutes into the song, roughly, is where I thought I heard the vocalist switch up, because the vocal tone sounded like one that I hadn't heard yet throughout the EP, but I couldn't be completely sure if that's accurate or not, to be honest with you. But again, you know, it was a good track, and for something 7.5-ish minutes, it did well to keep my attention. Track 6, Question Marks, bonus track, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Some Dickie Allen, Will Ramos type grunts starting up this one. Not really a song at all. It's just kind of like a little shit skit where the gutturals sound like a demonic presence muttering away and like gurgling in a prison or a lair or some underground cave, where you can hear like chains clanking and weird shit going on in the background, and they're just kind of sitting there like muttering and murmuring and gurgling to themselves, and it just kind of wasn't needed, honestly. I don't get the point in skits in albums. It's something I've never understood growing up. Like, same with like when Eminem used to have them, and then you still get them nowadays occasionally, like in country. I remember there was a particular Florida Georgia Line song album where they had several skits throughout, and it was like their cousin calling them up and being like, "Oh my god, I see you got a Tesla," and then like one talking about catfish nuggets, and it's like, we're here for the music, not for fucking skits, people, come as on. Anyway, I digress. So that's the end of that one. Unlike episode 1, where I only had about 3 to 4 songs for each EP to work with, I can actually give you a top 4 for this one. So, my favourite song, Gluttony. My second favourite song would be Limbo RE. My third favourite is Lust. And my fourth favourite would be Wrath. Like I said, it was a tough one. Easily could have switched out Wrath with the 5th song, which was Eclipse. Those were kind of like joint 4th in my opinion. But yeah, it's a good EP, good listen if you're into the more heavy, like slam deathcore styles. But yeah, definitely worth a try. Moving on now, we have EP number 2 for you. This is Autumn Lies Buried with their EP Aristocracy. Track number 1. Silent Weapons, 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Now, before we dive into this, I am going to take a quick drink, so excuse me a second. Right, that's better. Hydrated. I mean, if Rockstar can hydrate you, then yeah. So, we start with something like a national anthem sounding tune playing, with like these faint crackling fires behind it and police sirens, and it's just kind of like building up this ambient background noise before the vocals and all come into play. The vocalist shows off a myriad of techniques and does a mixture of highs, mids and guttural lows, which are all used throughout the entire, I was going to say throughout the entire song here, but it is throughout the entire EP. He switches up his techniques a lot throughout each song to keep the song feeling fresh and not stale. The drums are solid, and the same can be said for the guitars. Very solid track to open up the EP with. Moving on, we have track number 2 with Inhuman Skin, 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Again, another ambient start with some chuggy guitars building up, and then some insane vocal flows that bounce, yet still go hard, with almost a rap-like cadence to them. Sometimes behind it all, until about halfway into the song, when it actually does switch up and go to rap, and like the vocalist just drops the guttural I think he was doing, and then he just goes straight into this like rap flow, and then he effortlessly just switches back into a breakdown straight after his rap verse. And then he raps it off again after the breakdown with another rap verse over like the heavy guitars and drums. And it's just a very well polished, well put together track. Yeah, again, very solid. Moving on, we have track 3, Dead to Rights, 2 minutes 55. The drums and guitar rhythm at the start of this sounded vaguely familiar. Like, it kind of reminded me of a Whitechapel song that I heard, which sampled Scarlord's song that I've heard, like, if that makes sense. But yeah, then we hear a pig grunting and a gun cock before the vocals come in. It's just a short, heavy track that goes fucking hard. There's not a lot to say about it. Track number 4 is Consume Collapse, again on the shorter side with 2 minutes and 45. Vocals literally kick in fucking immediately without remorse, with a very quick blistering pace. Even the rap parts are at this same stupendously fast pace, reminding me a bit of the style and techniques used by rappers like Tech Nine or Twista or Busta Rhymes occasionally. And then by the time you know it, the song is done. Moving on, we have track number 5, The Entertainment Age, which is 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Some more heavy rap hybrid here, with the vocals flowing over fast and drums and screeching guitars. The vocalist's highs and mids are crisp and clear, and the gutturals are thick and sludgy, yet so effortlessly moved between, even into the rap verses, that this is one of the best tracks on here, I would say. Moving on, we have track number 6, Mother of Harlots, which is 3 minutes 20. An ominous open moves into the heaviness with a tone in the vocals and composition at some spots that remind me of Immure for some reason. I don't know if it was just like the occasional little bits of reverb in the vocals, or if it's just the toning of the guitar, but yeah, it definitely gave me a Muir vibe. But honestly, the guitar was a pure standout for me in that song. Moving on to the final track now, we have track number 7, Dead Boy, spelt B-O-I, not speechering. This is 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Final track here, and it's still unrelenting, just more fast-paced drums, vocals, and guitars too, which work hard, and it's a very solid end to the track list. So, my top 4 for this EP. Honestly, I would go number 1, Inhuman Skin, number 2, Silent Weapons, number 3, Consume Collapse, and number 4, Dead to Rights. It was a little bit of a trickier one because all of the songs were very good on that one and they were all like vibing with me, but I think that's the ending I'm happy with. So with that being said, this video is over, and all I've got to do now is let you know that the next video coming out will be Hardy's Mockingbird and the Crow, which is a country rock album. So I know some of you might not be into country, so if that isn't your cup of tea, don't worry if you don't want to watch the review. It is going to be a long one, sadly, so you might want to miss that one. But that being said, without further ado, I will bid you farewell, and remember to stay safe out there, my friends. Goodbye.